What's going on, everybody? T-Stop Boxing here. Um, I want to go ahead and give you my post-fight thoughts of this fight. Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder. Admittedly, this video is for a lot of my subscribers and friends that just want my genuine thoughts about the fight. All the drama aside, this one's for you. There'll be no talk about Glovegate or any controversies in this video. This one's for you. All right. The only thing I will say is the following, and I'll proceed about the fight. I said what I said yesterday. I mean what I said yesterday. If you want to be neutral, if you want to stay out of it, please do so. That's fine. It's not that serious, but for what it's worth. Tomorrow we will have the funeral of Glovegate on HCP Uncensored. Put it to rest. It's not going to end after that, obviously. I did say it would be a feast for crows. And that is that. And even when I stop, other channels will not. And Glovegate conspiracy theorists will just have to live with it. Just like they're going to have to live with it for the rest of their life. But with that said, let's talk about this fight. About this heavyweight title fight for the WBC and Ring Magazine Championship of the world, the heavyweight championship of this planet. Going into the fight, my prediction was that Fury would fight somewhat of a hybrid style, what he did in the first fight, in the second fight. He would start aggressive, and then as the fight progressed, he will revert to some boxing, and it would end up going to the scorecards. I did predict that there will be a scary moment for Fury, right? Using my Russian roulette theory about punchers, and the more rounds you fight them, the more opportunities you give, right? There's the amount of chambers, the bullets in the chambers, you name it. Although I got the winner right, I got the outcome wrong. There was more knockouts than knockdowns than ever. There was a knockout, and I didn't think that would happen. I was wrong, in fairness, right? So we have to be honest about that. But what I was right about was somewhat is the approach, and in which this fight was fought in, and Fury was a little more patient this time in the first round. And he kind of, saw what Wilder was doing, knocked him down in the third, and we all know how it went. I'm going to kind of go over it with you guys, but I just wanted to give you what my prediction was, and then follow up with saying, you know what? It didn't go exactly how I thought it would. However, I was fairly confident, right, that Tyson Fury was going to win. And I think Brian Kenny put it very well, actually. I don't always agree with Brian Kenny, but when he said, guys, I feel like we all know what's about to happen, but we don't know. And that's how I felt going into this fight. Let me tell you my feeling going into this fight. Like, last week, there was no buzz about it. I at least from my perspective, I didn't feel any excitement. But then they had the press conference, the realization that it was about to go down, the reality of the fight was there, and the stakes were high. when we know why they were high. First of all, it's a trilogy for the heavyweight championship of the world. That's already enough, but you also had an extra element. You had the accusations that Wilder was making, right? And then, of course, you had the claims he was making. So you're not a puncher. You don't knock guys out. Stop talking like you're a puncher. And Fury kept insisting, I'm going to stop you. Admittedly, I take banter for what it is, as banter. Let's talk about the fight. In the early going, Wilder was attacking the body with the jab. And I found that interesting, you know. I figured, okay, he wants to go to the body, wear out the bigger man, tire him out, right? And he was forcing the punches. He was throwing them with a lot of authority, right? Some landed, but some weren't. And it was more active in the round. Like, I was kind of waiting for Fury to do something, but Fury was staying patient, allowing Wilder to kind of move around with that body weight, but still try to assess, like, well, what's the adjustment here? Is this it? Is it the jab to the body? Like, what's up, right? Wilder, in my opinion, wasn't that successful working the body. Although I can appreciate his attempt, and it did enough to win him the first round, right? But let's not forget that Fury, although I believe he lost a round, I scored a 10-9 for Wilder for round one. Fury ended that round with authority. Like he set the stage for what was about to happen, right? So I remember thinking to myself, Wilder won that round, but I don't feel like he's closer to winning this fight than I did before the fight started. You know what I mean? Round two, I felt the round was closer, but and Fury was still like reading him, was still staying patient, wasn't blitzing him like he was in the first fight. He stayed patient, allowed him to move around, right? And then the third round came. He did the same. You know what I mean? Round two was close. But again, I'm kind of assessing the game plan of both fighters, right? Because in a boxing fight, battles are happening, but ultimately you want to win the war, right? Now, battles are important to win, but sometimes you sacrifice a battle to ultimately win the war, right? Round three came, and I remember the knockdown. Wilder goes down. Same round as the first fight, right? He started pressing him more. He got the knockdown. Wilder, by the way, backing up horribly in a straight line against the ropes. So I was already figuring, like, man, there's a lot that Wilder has not improved here. High and low, I appreciate that, brother. Boxing is spoken with style. I appreciate it. So I'm watching how Wilder's backing in a straight line, and I'm analyzing this, right? And I'm kind of like, from my perspective, once Fury got the knockdown, it was clear, okay, well, he set him up, he knocked him down. I have to be honest, I thought the fight would go maybe another 2 rounds. I thought it was over, right? Like, my thought was, okay, that's it. Deontay Wilder lost his fight, right? And I thought more, but I'll go over that another time. Like, why it was satisfying, like that moment, right? Because just think about it. I don't have to say too much, but imagine the people that were watching it and the realization that came to mind the moment they saw it. right? Like reality hit not only Wilder, but his entire, cuckoo for the cuckoo's nest fan base, right? It hit them all right in the face. But Wilder got up. He finished the round. So that's the round. They go back to their corners. Round 4 starts. Now, granted, I need to explain to you when you're watching a fight with a puncher like a Deontay Wilder, I get what a lot of you are saying, and you're not wrong, but the feeling that you get when a puncher is in the ring, it's so secret. That's why people are fascinated with Mike Tyson, Sonny Liston, right? George Foreman. When these guys lost, it was considered like amazing upsets because, picturing somebody surviving these guys without getting knocked out was almost impossible to like witness for a lot of people, right? A lot of Wilder fans couldn't wrap their minds around like an individual like Tyson Fury existing that can take his best shot and still keep coming, right? I remember, a lot of Wilder fans would say he's the best. I think it's impossible to beat him. He hits you one time, it's over. You can go to sleep, boom, and with a snap of your finger. Right? I have a saying, and the saying is power is magnetic to the steel of our desires. And Wilder brings that. And when you're watching the Deontay Wilder fight, from rounds 1 to 3, up until Fury knocked him down, I was in the edge of my seat. I saw him land a couple right hands. Fury took him. He rolled with a lot of them. But I kept thinking, man, he's barely missing them, right? But you're in the edge of your seat because you're wondering, at any moment, this dude could land something, and he could knock out his opponent, right? We've seen him get outboxed throughout a fight, and then bam! In a second, he knocks him out cold, Luis Ortiz. We've seen it happen. We've seen him almost run away with a victory in the 12th round in the first fight with Tyson Fury. We've seen it happen. So you're in the edge of your seat. In the 3rd round, Fury knocks him down. Goes down, ladies and gentlemen. And I there was like a relief. Because I was going for Fury in the fight, right? There's a relief. Like, woo! Right? I'm still feeling the excitement of the fight. The juices are flowing. I still got those butterflies, but now I'm calm. And I'm thinking, okay. Now, I'm also selfishly thinking, man, I'm going to get my prediction wrong, but that was a side note, to be honest. To go back to the corner, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, Wilder just had a reality check, right? A lot of individuals out there had a reality check. In that moment, they realized, I guess those aren't feather dusters. And holy shit, this motherfucker knocked me down. I guess there wasn't some stuff going on in the second fight. I guess he just has the ability to knock me down, to hurt me. Right? The 4th round starts. And just like I let my guard down, and I was no longer on the edge of my seat thinking this is it. Repeat of the second fight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm getting ready, bro. I'm watching this fight in theater. I finished my soda. I swear to God, I finished my soda. You know what I mean? Put the popcorn. I didn't finish the popcorn. I just put it aside. And I just kind of, literally now I sit, not figuratively, but literally sit in the edge of my seat. And I'm like, Right, this is it. Like he's gonna hurt him again, probably drop him again. It's gonna become like a one. Like this is it. I honestly felt that way, and it looked like it for a little bit. And then the Alabama Slammer lands on Tyson Fury. He walks into it. He's looking down. Lost focus for a second, and in that second, boom! My heart rate went from normal to like probably 200 or some shit, right? In that moment, I yelled out, "Oh shit! Oh fuck!" Wilder goes down, and in that moment, like I see his feet for a second or two. Now maybe he just landed that way, and there was nothing wrong with his knees, but again, when you're watching live and everything is happening, boom, boom, everything's moving so quick. Everything's moving fast, right? Like the seconds are just blazing through. You know what I mean? And I see, like, it looked to me like a lot of times fighters get knocked down and their knees kind of like they buckle and they're like locked. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen guys get knocked out? Like sometimes their knees lock, you know what I mean? And their feet get straightened out like that. Well, Fury was like in that position. And if you look back, probably it wasn't even that, but that's what it seemed like. And I'm like, holy shit. And he gets back up. And I could tell his legs weren't all there. I look at the clock. I'm like, holy shit. Wilder has 30 seconds. And this is the window. And the window is closing. Now, I'm not going to lie. I was excited as fuck when this was happening, right? Nothing else mattered in that moment. I was just enjoying like the reality of what just happened, right? Like I was locked in the moment where everything outside, right? Everything at stake, everything that was said, everything people predicted, what I predicted, what the actions, all that didn't matter. I was just locked in this moment. And then I see Tyson Fury do something that he is known to do. I see him have audacity. The audacity to come forward. The audacity to go for the attack. Fury hits him kind of like, it's kind of like a push off, push down anyway of a hook. Fury goes down again. And I look at Fury's face. And he looks disappointed. He doesn't look hurt. He looks disappointed in himself. Like, God damn it. Right? He gets back up. The bell rings. He gets out of that fight. So now, if I was in the edge of my seat before, now I was really on the edge of my seat. Okay? And I had this feeling during the fight, right, that I know a lot of you felt. I know you did, because I felt it. During the fight, I was in the edge of my seat, and this force existed like during the fight. I felt like the fight could end at any moment, at any time, right? That's how I felt. I felt like at any moment this fight could end. So something Wilder would land a right hand. I'm like, whoa. You know what I mean? Fury would land something. Whoa. Right. There was something about, the what I'm witnessing here. This feeling that you only feel when there's punchers. So I'm watching Fury. Now it was competitive still from like rounds 5, 6 were competitive. And then it started getting one-sided, right? I get it. And so I'm just watching this kind of thing go on where I'm looking at the same thing you guys saw. I'm watching Tyson Fury outbox him, but I'm still on the edge of my seat because I know that in any moment, just like it happened in the 4th round, if he lands a clean punch, he can drop Fury. And I don't know if he's going to be able to recover, right? I don't know if he's going to be able to recover. And I'm feeling this, I'm feeling it. And while it has its, dips and its highs and its lows and its valleys and its mountains, as I'm kind of, feeling it, right? It starts to go away. I see him get knocked down, but this time this time I ain't gonna like put my guard down. Neither did Fury, but then he got hurt again. I think it was late in the 10th. I'm like, God damn. You know what I mean? And even when Wilder was off balance, even when he was getting outboxed, even if I felt they should stop this fight already, it still felt like he was dangerous. That's how it felt. And I was still on the edge of my seat. And then the closing act happens. Fury lands a phenomenal uppercut, right? And he lands some, like, a great combination, a great series, a great combination, a great series of punches. And he puts it to an end, right? Wilder goes down like a heap, like a sack of potatoes. Just drops him, and he just watches him. And then this feeling, this that kept me at the edge of my seat, this force, it just vanished. It just evaporated. It was gone. So obviously, if you go back and you watch the fight now, you're not going to get the same feeling because you already know the result, right? You already know what would happen, right? But the feeling we had, the not knowing the finality of it all in certain spots and moments when they would land big shots and hurt each other, drop each other, that was what made this special. And that's why I want to ask you guys, right? Like, what I want to ask is, did you feel it? Like be honest. Was there something that you felt, right? This is about the fight. This isn't about anything else. And if you didn't, that's fine, right? I know plenty of people that said, nah, I just felt, that's it. But I know you felt it at least in the 4th round. Some people may feel like in the 4th round that window of opportunity closed, right? And I want to point out an irony and something I was thinking about, According to some reports, Deontay Wilder hurt his right hand, right? As we know, Deontay Wilder decided to fight with horsehair gloves. He had these horsehair gloves, and from the very beginning, and I felt this way. I felt that was a mistake. That was a tactical mistake, right? Oh, we're going to fight a fire with fire. No, you're going to fight with the type of gloves he prefers, and you think that's going to help you. you are more likely to break your hand. You're more likely, I should say, to break your hand with a puncher's glove, horsehair glove, hybrid or not, than you are with a power lock or any one of those other gloves. You know what I mean? Like that is just a flat out reality at the end of the day. So, in my opinion, I believe Wilder hurt his hand. I'm guessing if it wasn't in the fourth, maybe somewhere in the seventh or eighth round, he landed a right hand through the guard of Fury in one of those rounds. And he kind of just he gave Wilder a look like, okay. And he got a little more confident as he started the attack a lot more on Wilder. If Wilder would have had his power locks, if it is true that he hurt his hand, it was less likely that he would have hurt his hand. And he would have been able to land those punches with more force than he did with the horsehair gloves. That is just true. He put himself in a disadvantage because he wore gloves that he had already worn, he got injured wearing. And he said from his own mouth, it was the wrapping. I didn't wrap it right. Whatever it is. No, it was not the wrapping. No, it wasn't the way your hands were getting wrapped. All right? It was because you were wearing horsehair gloves. If it's true that it was a wrapping, you would have done a different type of wrapping. You wouldn't have done a different pair. You wouldn't change gloves, okay? But nonetheless, he went the direction he went. I think he did a lot of tactical errors in his fight. One, the weight. I think he carried around too much weight. That's number one. Second, a lot of people out there, I believe, are just correct. He needed to put more muscle on his legs, okay? That is just true. He should have added muscle to his legs, not the upper body. All right? So that's another thing. Also, his output was just too high. Fury almost just let him throw those punches early. Like, okay, you want to do that? Well, okay. Shout out to Guido and HLD. What's going on, brothers? Before this fight happened, there was some fans saying that, oh my God, they're going to let Deontay Wilder wear horsehair gloves? Or that's what they said before the fight, right? And for some reason, like they thought this gave Wilder this like all of a sudden, he was going to just smash, like the moment he hit Fury, he's going to just smash his face in. Well, that's not what happened. Instead, it appears he hurt his hand. Oh, they're going to ban horsehair gloves after they let Deontay Wilder use them. I saw some people saying that. Forget the fact that he had already worn horsehair gloves. That idea is ridiculous and stupid. Okay, Matt Chad, brother, I appreciate the super chat. Much appreciated. All right. He has a diamond. There we go, brother. All right. Hit my like button, guys. Shout out to Raw Boxing TV. Says mi gente. Guido, HLD. What's up? Now, while I was watching this fight, while I admit I was on the edge of my seat, because that's just what happens when you just watch a puncher fight. The last two rounds, I would say, maybe even like 2.5 or 3 rounds. I felt like asking myself, what is the fucking point? What are we doing here? Is this really like for Wilder can have a moral victory and go the distance? Because I'll tell you that there is something dangerous about continuing a fight even when you shouldn't. Fury was landing monster punches to the body. Fury was rocking his head back constantly. Wilder was just, again, backing up straight to the ropes. I saw him wincing while he would sit down and stand up. And while I could appreciate the heart of a lion, the heart of a warrior, while I could appreciate it, I can say that it just wasn't necessary. But necessary at the same time. Deontay Wilder said he wanted to go out on his shield. Right? Deontay Wilder said he wanted to get put out. Like, put me out of my misery. Give me a soldier's death. Right? Figuratively speaking. Deontay Wilder was viciously beaten. Like, now that we could go back and watch the fight. Now that the idea of, oh, you might hit him with something, knock him out, we witness a sustained beatdown. And contrary to popular belief, beatdowns are not reversible. They're not. Our ability to take damage is fight night. There's only so much of it we could take in a lifetime. There's only so much of it. Deontay Wilder took an unnecessary beating for 2 to 3 rounds. And I'll remind everybody that the only reason this happened was because we had referees that didn't want to stop the fight because they didn't want to get accused of doing. Keep in mind, Wilder was telling everybody that would listen, okay, that he was at the brink of coming back and taking over against Fury because Fury couldn't hurt him. Fury couldn't even hurt him, he said. The dude had the audacity to say, you didn't even hurt me. After like, this is crazy. Deontay Wilder took an unnecessary beatdown for really no reason. But I will say, it was also necessary. Because if they would have stopped the fight, we would have narratives out here. Oh, he was about to take over. They stopped it to help Fury. Oh, they would have. That's what they would have said. Just like they said he looked scared at the press conference, they would have said he looked tired. And at any moment, Wilder was going to take over. So while I acknowledge that the beatdown was unnecessary and that the knockout was unnecessary, objectively speaking, right? I will say that it was necessary because of the narratives that were created, the excuses that were made, all right? It was necessary so we didn't have to hear, all right, excuses. So we didn't have to hear, oh, he couldn't knock him out. He's a feather-fisted puncher. You know what I mean? You could have knocked me out, blah, blah, blah. Well, that made it necessary. So now you witnessed it. Now you saw it. Are you happy now? Did it make you happy that he went out of shield like that? Of course, people that don't like Wilder are happy because he got knocked out. Of course. Boxing fans, we're bloodthirsty, right? We want to see knockouts. We always have. But to the Wilder fans, is that really what you wanted? They say, oh, you should let him go out of the shield. Since that's what you wanted, that's what we're going to show, right? You wanted to see him go out in the shield, so we're going to be showing him out in the shield, right? From now to eternity. That image of Fury standing over Wilder will go down the annals of time, just like Muhammad Ali standing over, Sonny Liston. It's going to be there. It's not going anywhere. What's going on? High and low, Sportatorium. Magistral description of damages. I appreciate the support, brother. Deontay Wilder may never be the same, ladies and gentlemen. I fear that the beatdown I saw him take, right, is a type of beatdown that has prolonged damages. Like, it's prolonged. You know what I mean? Because he was getting hit to the body, he was getting hit upstairs, his head was bouncing back. Okay, there was moments where he looked out on his feet momentarily, and again he showed heart, and by all means, praise him. That's cool, but it was unnecessary. I find it strange that there's even Wilder fans saying they should have stopped it, but a lot of those same fans would have complained that it was stopped too early, and unfortunately, that's why it was necessary for it to happen. I don't know if Wilder will ever be the same. All the poetry in the world. Because Wilder turned into a poet after the fight, right? He was going out, reading Bible verses and this and that, and talking about how, silence is golden and all this other stuff, right? And talking about how, what you see with your eyes, your eyes don't lie. Well, I guess I saw what I saw. I saw and I witnessed what I witnessed. I witnessed Deontay Wilder get beat down. That's what I saw. And it's sad that it had to go longer than it had to just to satisfy individuals that would have never accepted the possibility. I want you to just think about this. There's individuals that would not have accepted the possibility of Tyson Fury knocking out Deontay Wilder unless they actually saw it. We all knew the inevitable after a couple rounds. Round 8 or 9, there's not a person alive that didn't see the inevitable happening. Like we all knew it was coming. Right? Like we all knew, he's going to get knocked out, But in order to satisfy individuals that would not have accepted that possibility, individuals that would have said, oh, that ref, he was in it for Fury, he stopped it because he knew Wilder was about to take over. Remember what was said about Kenny Bayless because he stopped the fight. Kenny Bayless knew I was about to take over. I didn't even feel the punches. I was about to take over, right? Unfortunately, it was necessary. Contrary to my brothers and sisters out there, to great content creators out there that are like it's one of those situations where you're not wrong, but I just disagree. You're not wrong when you say that prolonged beatdown, those extra 2-3 rounds of a beatdown were not necessary. You're not wrong. Right? Morally, you're not wrong. Right? Your human instincts, right, that kick in. Even though we're primal and we love the bloodshed and all that, I get it. I'm with you, right? At some point, you're like, okay, what's the point of this? Stop this shit. It's unnecessary. This contest is no longer a contest, right? It's a beatdown at this point. But it was unfortunately, it was necessary. It had to happen. It had to happen. We had delusional fans out here that would not have accepted that fact unless they actually saw it happening. And unfortunately, it's at the expense of the very fighter they're supporting. That is just the truth. So that made it necessary. It was necessary because of that. Now, what I will say is this, okay? It's this simple. And Stephen is saying it, right? I agree with you, style. Wilder's own fans brought about that beatdown. Philly Irish is saying should have been stopped 3 rounds before. I don't disagree, but you need to understand that it was necessary. Not preferred, not morally right. Okay? It wasn't. You're right. The right thing to have done would be to stop the fight 3 rounds prior. That would have been the right thing to do. But unfortunately, because of accusations that are thrown at referees, at officials, at corners, right? Because of that, it was necessary. That made it necessary, and it was at his own expense. That old adage of, hey, you got to protect the fighter from himself. You are correct. You are morally correct if you say we should have saved him from himself. But unfortunately, because of the accusations thrown at refs, the accusations thrown at officials, the accusations thrown at corners and opponents, it made it necessary. I think the doctor wanted to stop the fight, but you don't think it ran through the doctor's head like, oh, I don't want to be all over the internet as the guy that screwed over Wilder, and because I didn't want to give him, the protection, and like that has to run through their mind. You know, the Mora was thinking about it, like, man, I should probably sit in the corner, but I don't want people to say that I was just trying to protect Fury and I was trying to save him from Wilder just making a dramatic comeback and knocking him out, or like, you know what I mean? Like that's what happens. That made it necessary. Unfortunately. It was necessary. So, I mean, are you happy now? Like, are you really happy? You're okay with it. Like, you wanted to see him get knocked out like that, right? Hopefully, there's no long-term effects. Okay? Hopefully not. But this is what I'm hoping for. I was kind of annoyed that he wouldn't shake Fury's hand after the fight. Pushed him off, said, no, no, no. According to Fury, told him, I don't respect you. No, like, you know what I mean? According to Fury, right? I haven't heard an audio of it yet, but I listened to some content creators and some friends of mine, and they said, you know what? Look, he took a beating. He was bleeding from the ear again. He wasn't all there, D-style. Let him go back. Let him think about it. Give him a moment, and he'll give Fury his credit. Okay, I'll give him the opportunity. I'll give him the opportunity to give him his credit. Right? I will. And we will see. Contrary to what many people are saying, right? I was a Deontay Wilder fan. A lot of us were. And to me, the old Bronze Bomber is still there somewhere. And I want to be his fan. I'll still be his fan even if he lost. It's not about the loss, and a lot of my favorite fighters lost, right? I was a big fan of the Bronze Bomber. I just couldn't stand behind these accusations. I couldn't stand behind the excuses. And I want him to own up to not only accepting this loss, but own up to the things you said. Own up to it. Like, that is necessary for me. You got what you wanted. You said, hey, all I want is to let me go out of my shield. Okay, we let you go out on your shield, right? Okay, wish granted, right? The genie granted you to go out on your shield. Okay, cool. You claim that's all you want. You just wanted a third fight. You just, hey, just let me go out on my shield, right? And I want my, revenge in blood. Well, you didn't get a revenge in blood. So that was non-negotiable. You didn't win, right? So the genie cannot grant you like just that, but the genie could grant you going out on your shield, and will grant you getting the fight, but we can't grant you the revenge in blood, right? Right? Okay, cool. We're not going to give you the revenge in blood. Sorry. Didn't happen. But now you like, there's a lot he needs to answer for. He doesn't have to, but I'm not going to support him if he can't own up to those things. It doesn't mean I can appreciate the fighter he is and how the warrior spirit he showed and all that. It has nothing to do with that. But I hope we don't get more excuses, because let me tell you right now, guys, seeds were already planted before the fight. Building excuses were already planted, like landmines, before the fight even happened. Now, just because they were planted doesn't mean that those landmines will be ignited. But when Fury won the second fight, the night of the fight, most Wilder fans were very accepting of the loss, congratulated Fury, called Fury the best. A lot of the same song and dance that, Wilder needs to work on his game. He was too one-dimensional. He needs to work on his defense. Wilder was too reliant on his power. All these same things that are being said now were being said then. And then there was a switcheroo, right? I want Wilder to, he's the only one that could put a stop to it, guys. He's the one that puts a stop to it, And I hope he gives Fury his credit, right? It is what it is, okay? We will see, guys. We will see. I just wanted to come on and give my thoughts. Wilder fans are going to get him killed or sued. I don't know. I never really seen a situation where that happening to a fighter was just like necessary to put shit to rest. I never really seen a situation like that. It really was fascinating. You know what I mean? Raw, he may never do it, but he might surprise us. You never know, right? When all these supporters are like this Fury fight Like, I honestly believe this. This fight last night was the first time in like 18 months that Deontay Wilder, okay, had to face reality. I'm not trying to be funny when I say this. Okay, I'm not. But listen to me very closely. When Deontay Wilder went down in the third round and shattered all the conspiracy that it had to be an egg weight, that's the only reason he dropped him and all this other stuff, right? When reality hit not only Wilder in the face, it hit all of Glovegate conspiracy theorists in the face. Okay? When Wilder went down, the conspiracy theorist went down with him. I repeat, when Deontay Wilder went down, the conspiracy theorist went down with him. Reality hit him in the face. Like, oh, fuck. Now, they had their moment, right? The people that said Wilder had no shot and it wasn't dangerous had their own reality moment in the fourth. But in the 11th hour, which was the 11th round, when Deontay Wilder went down, say it with me, the conspiracy theorist went down with him. Let's say it one more time. When Deontay Wilder went down in the 11th round, the conspiracy theorist went down with him. Ladies and gentlemen, it's almost like one punch just like shattered like hundreds of thousands, like we're not even a couple thousand people, right? I mean, that's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. And unfortunately, that's where we were. Unfortunately, that's the reality of the situation. Unfortunately, I didn't want it to be that way. I didn't ask for it to be that way. You know, not me. So now, the question is this: Deontay Wilder sat on a wall. Deontay Wilder took a great fall. Can Deontay Wilder's horsemen and Deontay Wilder's men ever put Glovegate and Deontay Wilder back together again? Very true, Puerto Rican rum. We all thought the same thing in that first knockdown. All of us. All of us thought the same thing. Reality hit a lot of people in the face, ladies and gentlemen. It's the way it is. You can't adjust for somebody and be ignorant at the same time and be in denial. You can't fix a problem if you're in denial about the problem. You can't fix the fact that of how you got stopped in the rematch if you believe that he can't hurt you. There's a certain level of humbleness that a fighter needs when they step into the ring. Tyson Fury, believe it or not, is humble. He always says Deontay Wilder is a monster puncher that can end the fight with one punch. He acknowledges that. He humbles himself and accepts this man has the ability to knock me out. Right? And he prepares accordingly. The other man believed he couldn't get stopped. That a ref saved his opponent the last time. That he couldn't hurt him. Is it really surprising to know who won the fight? It's not that surprising, is it? Well, anything could happen in a heavyweight fight. Well, anything could happen in a fight, period. The more likely outcome will happen more than likely. And we saw it happen this time. So, that is that. This is D-Style Boxing. I'm out.